Hey folks, welcome back to Stoic Relationships. Today, we're diving into something that hits close to home for many of us. What really happens when you stop caring too much about someone who doesn't seem to value your effort? It sounds counterintuitive, right? In relationships, be they romantic, platonic, or even professional, we're taught to give our all, to show up, to care deeply, to prove our worth through relentless effort. But what happens when all that care and attention aren't reciprocated? Or worse, when they start taking you for granted? If you've ever found yourself wondering if you're caring too much, or what would happen if you just stopped, this video is for you. Now, let me set the scene. Picture this. You're always the one initiating, the one checking in, planning, asking how their day went, and ensuring they're okay. At first, it feels good. You're being a supportive partner, friend, or colleague. But slowly, you notice something shifting. Your calls aren't returned as quickly. Your texts are left on read, or maybe they just seem distant. It's frustrating, confusing, and, let's be honest, a little hurtful. You start to wonder if you're doing something wrong or if you're simply too much. Here's the truth. You might be caring too much for someone who isn't ready to meet you halfway. And this is where Stoicism comes into play. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control. Our own actions, emotions, and reactions, while letting go of what we can't. Other people's choices and feelings. It's a liberating mindset, one that allows us to stop overextending ourselves for others and instead invest that energy where it truly matters, on our own growth and well-being. In this video, we'll explore how caring less can actually transform not only your relationships, but also your sense of self. We'll break it down step by step, starting with why too much caring can actually drive people away. Yes, it happens more often than you think. Then, we'll discuss why caring less can make you irresistible, not just in romantic relationships, but in all areas of life. We'll also uncover the profound truth that letting go isn't about giving up. It's about rediscovering who you are. As we move deeper into the psychology of this dynamic, we'll explore how to recognize when they start feeling the shift. Because trust me, they will notice. We'll tackle the trap of chasing, something so many of us fall into, and how to escape it with grace. From there, we'll explore the power of boundaries, how setting them isn't about keeping others out, but about valuing your time and energy. And finally, we'll arrive at the true freedom of letting go, which isn't just about walking away from toxic dynamics. It's about stepping into your most empowered self. This isn't just another video about playing hard to get or detaching emotionally. It's about understanding human psychology and recognizing your own worth. It's about shifting the power dynamic, not by manipulation, but by reclaiming your energy and letting others decide whether they're willing to match it. Throughout this journey, I want you to think about your own relationships. Who in your life makes you feel like you're doing too much? Who, when you stop to think about it, might not be giving as much as they're receiving? And here's the kicker. Are you ready to stop caring so much and see what happens next? This isn't easy work, my friends. It requires reflection, courage, and a willingness to embrace change. But the payoff? The freedom, clarity, and strength that come when you stop chasing after others and start valuing yourself. That's priceless. All right, folks, let's get started. Number 1. Why too much caring can drive them away. Hey, folks, let's dive into something that might sound a little counterintuitive. Why too much caring can actually push people away. At first glance, it might seem strange. After all, aren't relationships built on care, attention, and effort? While that's true, Overcaring can create an imbalance that leads to unintended consequences. Let's break it down. When you care too much, you can inadvertently signal to the other person that they don't need to put in the same level of effort. Think about this. If you're always the one initiating plans, checking in, and going out of your way to prioritize them, it can feel one-sided over time. In the beginning, they might appreciate your enthusiasm and attention, but eventually, it can become overwhelming or, worse, something they take for granted. This dynamic isn't about you doing something wrong. It's about the psychology of human relationships. People tend to value things they have to earn. When something comes too easily or is given in excess, it can lose its perceived value. It's not that your care isn't meaningful. It's that its constant availability might make it seem less special. Balance is key. There's also the issue of independence. If you're consistently giving so much of yourself, your time, energy, and emotional investment, it might create the impression that you don't have much going on outside of the relationship. While it's wonderful to care deeply for someone, it's equally important to maintain your own identity and interests. A healthy relationship thrives when both people bring their unique lives and perspectives into it. Caring too much can also unintentionally communicate neediness. For example, if you're always the one texting first, or you feel anxious when they don't reply quickly, it might send a message that your happiness depends entirely on their attention. This kind of dynamic can make them feel pressured or even trapped, which might lead them to pull away. Not because they don't care about you, but because they need space to breathe. Now, let's bring Stoicism into the conversation. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we can't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In the context of relationships, this means shifting your focus inward. Instead of pouring all your energy into someone else, prioritize your own growth and happiness. Care for others? Yes, but not at the expense of your own emotional balance. Here's a practical example. If you feel like you're always giving but not receiving, take a step back and reassess. Are you doing things out of genuine love and kindness, or are you hoping for a specific response or outcome? If it's the latter, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. Care should come from a place of strength, not from fear of losing the other person. One way to create balance is to give them space to invest in you. Let them be the one to reach out or plan something special. This doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It's about fostering mutual effort. When both people contribute equally, the relationship feels more rewarding and genuine. Another important point is self-care. When you invest in yourself, your hobbies, friendships, career, and personal growth, you become more attractive and well-rounded. Confidence and independence are magnetic qualities. They show the other person that while you value them, you don't depend on them for your sense of worth or fulfillment. It's also helpful to set boundaries. For instance, if you find yourself constantly accommodating their needs while neglecting your own, it's time to recalibrate. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, not one person constantly bending over backward to make things work. Boundaries not only protect your well-being, but also show the other person that you value yourself. Lastly, reflect on your motivations. Ask yourself, am I caring for them because I want to, or because I'm afraid of what will happen if I don't? If fear is driving your actions, it's a sign to take a step back and focus on yourself. Relationships should enhance your life, not create anxiety or self-doubt. Now, here's something for you to think about. Have you ever felt like caring too much pushed someone away? Or maybe you found a way to strike a healthy balance. Share your thoughts in the comments with the phrase, "Balance is key." Your insights could help someone else on their journey. Before we wrap up this section, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on valuable insights like these. In the next section, we'll explore why caring less can actually make you more irresistible. Stick around, you won't want to miss it. Number 2, why less caring makes you irresistible. Let's explore a concept that might feel counterintuitive but is incredibly powerful. Why showing less care can actually make you more irresistible. It's not about becoming indifferent or cold. It's about creating balance and maintaining your self-worth. Relationships flourish when there's mutual respect and effort, and caring less can shift the dynamic in a way that enhances your presence and appeal. First, let's consider the psychology of attraction. People are naturally drawn to things they perceive as valuable and slightly out of reach. When you care too much, you might unintentionally project an image of over-availability or neediness. While your intentions may be pure, excessive care can sometimes dilute the mystery and intrigue that makes relationships exciting. On the other hand, when you take a step back and focus on yourself, you signal confidence and independence, two traits that are undeniably attractive. Caring less doesn't mean you stop investing in the relationship. Instead, it means you stop overextending yourself and begin prioritizing your emotional well-being. Think of it as a recalibration. When you scale back on unnecessary efforts, you allow the other person to step up and contribute to the connection. This creates a more balanced dynamic, where both parties feel equally valued. For example, consider this scenario. You're always the one texting first, planning dates, or checking in. While this shows your dedication, it can also make the other person complacent. By pulling back slightly, waiting for them to initiate conversations or plans, you subtly communicate that your time and energy are valuable. This not only gives them the opportunity to take the lead, but also shifts the dynamic, so they start investing more in the relationship. One of the key reasons less caring works is because it allows space for curiosity to grow. When you're not constantly available, you create an element of unpredictability. They might start wondering, what are they up to? Why aren't they responding right away? This isn't about playing games, but about reclaiming your independence. That intrigue can reignite their interest and keep them engaged in the relationship. Stoicism teaches us a valuable lesson here. Focus on what you can control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." Similarly, in relationships, we shouldn't fear losing someone because we care less. Instead, we should fear losing ourselves by over-caring. By practicing self-restraint, you show that you're not dependent on someone else's attention or approval to feel fulfilled. This independence is a cornerstone of being irresistible. Caring less also helps you avoid emotional burnout. When you're constantly giving without receiving, it's easy to feel drained or unappreciated. Taking a step back allows you to recharge and maintain your emotional health. It's about finding a rhythm that works for you, one that lets you care without compromising your own happiness. People are naturally drawn to those who exude contentment and self-assurance, which often comes from living a balanced life. Let's not forget the power of mystery. When you're not always forthcoming with your thoughts or feelings, you create an air of intrigue. This doesn't mean you should be secretive or aloof, but holding back slightly can make your interactions more compelling. They'll want to know more about you, what you're thinking, and what makes you tick. This curiosity keeps the relationship dynamic and exciting. Another benefit of caring less is that it sets a standard for mutual respect. When you stop bending over backward to accommodate someone, you show that you value yourself and your boundaries. This encourages the other person to respect you more and treat you with the consideration you deserve. In the long run, This approach fosters a healthier and more balanced relationship. So, how do you start caring less in a way that feels authentic? Begin by redirecting some of the energy you've been pouring into the relationship toward yourself. Pursue hobbies, spend time with friends, or take up a new challenge. When you're busy living your life, you naturally become less available, which enhances your allure. Remember, a fulfilling relationship should complement your life, not consume it. Let me ask you, have you ever noticed how people seem more interested in you when you're focused on yourself? Share your thoughts in the comments with the phrase, "I choose balance." Your experience might inspire someone else to find their own equilibrium. As we move forward, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. In the next part, we'll dive into how letting go can help you rediscover your true self. It's a game changer, and I can't wait to share it with you. Number 3. How letting go helps you rediscover who you really are. Letting go. It's something we've all been told to do, yet it feels impossibly hard when we're deep in emotions, doesn't it? But have you ever considered that holding on too tightly might be keeping you from understanding who you really are? Think about it for a moment, my Stoic friends. When was the last time you truly focused on yourself instead of someone else's needs, opinions, or actions? Let's dive into this together. When you let go, you create space to breathe, to reflect, and to reconnect with what makes you uniquely you. So often, we get caught up in the whirlwind of relationships, trying to keep someone close or win their approval, that we lose sight of our own values and desires. Here's the truth. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about giving yourself permission to prioritize your own well-being and rediscover the parts of yourself you may have neglected. Let me ask you this. How much of your day is spent worrying about what they think of you, how they'll react, or whether they'll text you back? Imagine what it would feel like to redirect all that energy toward your own growth. By letting go, you reclaim that energy and use it to build the life you deserve. For example, instead of obsessing over their next move, you could spend that time pursuing a passion, developing a skill, or simply enjoying a peaceful moment with your own thoughts. But here's where it gets profound. Letting go doesn't just benefit you, it shifts the dynamic of your relationships too. When you let go of trying to control or please others, you stop coming across as needy or desperate. Instead, you project confidence and independence. And let's be real, confidence is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who seem at ease with themselves, who aren't afraid to walk their own path. Now, I want to get real with you for a second. Letting go isn't easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of unlearning habits and beliefs that have kept you tethered to the idea that your worth is tied to someone else's validation. But here's the key. Start small. Practice saying no to things that don't align with your goals or values. Take a step back from situations that drain your energy. And most importantly, remind yourself daily that your happiness isn't dependent on someone else's approval. Letting go also gives you the clarity to evaluate your relationships more objectively. Once you stop holding on out of fear or habit, you can ask yourself, is this person or situation truly adding value to my life? Sometimes, we hold on to people or connections out of a sense of obligation or nostalgia. But when you let go, you open the door to better, more fulfilled now. Let's bring this back to you. Have you ever experienced that sense of freedom after letting go of something that wasn't serving you? Maybe it was a toxic friendship, an unreciprocated crush, or even a bad habit. How did it feel to step away? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights might inspire someone else to take that brave step toward rediscovery. And before we wrap up this section, I want to leave you with a thought. Rediscovering who you are is one of the most empowering journeys you can take. When you stop clinging to the idea of what you should be for others, you start uncovering what truly makes you happy. That's where real transformation happens. If you've been enjoying this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so we can continue exploring these life-changing topics together. And stay tuned, because the next part of this video dives even deeper into the subtle but powerful shifts you'll notice when you let go. All right, my Stoic friends, let's keep this journey going. Number 4, how to recognize when they feel the shift. You know, one of the most fascinating dynamics in any relationship is how people respond when things start to change. When they notice you're no longer giving them all your energy or care. This shift can be subtle at first, but if you pay attention, there are clear signs that they're feeling it. Let's talk about how to recognize these moments, because understanding them can help you regain your power and navigate your relationships more effectively. First, you'll notice a change in their behavior. Have you ever experienced this? Suddenly, someone who seemed indifferent or distracted starts reaching out more often. They might text or call out of the blue, checking in with a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" This isn't random. It's their subconscious way of trying to re-establish their position in your life. When you stop caring as much, your energy pulls back, and people feel that loss. It's human nature to want what feels like it's slipping away. Another telltale sign is an increase in their efforts to seek your attention. Maybe they bring up shared memories or try to rekindle inside jokes that you once had. They might even become overly curious about what you're up to, asking questions like, "Who have you been hanging out with lately?" Or "What's been keeping you so busy?" Focals. These aren't just harmless questions. They're indicators that they're noticing your focus is no longer solely on them. It's like a little alarm going off in their head. Now, let's talk about their tone. Sometimes, when someone feels the shift, their words might take on a hint of urgency. Instead of the usual casual conversations, you'll sense a bit more emotion or vulnerability in their tone. They might express things like, "I miss when we used to talk more," or "Things feel different between us." These statements can be a way of testing the waters, seeing if you're still emotionally invested or if they've lost the upper hand. Of course, not everyone reacts with warmth. Some people, feeling the shift, might try to regain control by provoking you. They could make passive-aggressive comments or create situations to gauge how much you still care. For example, they might suddenly post about spending time with someone else, hoping to see if it triggers a reaction from you. This behavior isn't about genuine connection, it's a power play. If you notice this, remember, your calmness is your greatest tool. Don't give them the reaction they're fishing for. Here's another interesting clue. They may start mirroring your actions. If you've been more distant or spending time on new interests, they might start doing the same. This isn't coincidence. It's a subconscious attempt to either align with you or make you take notice. Pay close attention to these changes. They're often subtle, but speak volumes about how someone feels when they no longer have your undivided attention. Now, here's where things get even more insightful. You might notice their body language changing during in-person interactions. They might lean in more, hold eye contact a little longer, or seem more physically present than before. These non-verbal cues are powerful indicators that they're working harder to reconnect or re-establish the bond they feel slipping away. As we discuss all these signs, it's important to remember that recognizing these shifts isn't about manipulating the situation. Instead, it's about becoming more aware of the dynamics at play so you can respond with confidence and clarity. You're not playing games. You're simply reclaiming your energy and observing how others react when they realize it. Now, Fockles, let me ask you, have you ever experienced someone acting differently when you pulled back your energy? Maybe they suddenly started reaching out more or behaving in unexpected ways. If you've seen this happen, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Just write, "I've seen the shift," if you've noticed this pattern in your life. Before we move on, let me remind you, if you're finding value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss out on insights like these to help you navigate your relationships with clarity and confidence. Now, let's dive deeper into understanding the power of letting go. Stay with me, it only gets better from here. Number 5, the trap of chasing. Let's talk about something we've all done at some point. Chasing. It's natural to want something or someone so badly that you're willing to go to great lengths to make it happen. But here's the kicker. Chasing often has the exact opposite effect of what you're hoping for. When you chase someone, whether it's in a romantic relationship or a friendship, you unintentionally send a message that can undermine your own value. Let's explore why that happens and how you can break free from the trap. When you chase someone, you're essentially putting them on a pedestal. Think about it. If you're running after them, you're saying, "You're above me, and I need to prove my worth to you." It's not something we consciously think about, but it's the dynamic that starts to play out. And the person on the other end, they sense this shift in power. They know they have the upper hand, and it often leads to them valuing your presence less. Nobody is attracted to desperation, even if your intentions are genuine. Here's an example. Imagine you text someone repeatedly without getting a reply. The longer they don't respond, the more anxious you feel, right? So, you send another text, maybe a "just checking in," or even a playful meme to lighten the mood. But instead of getting the response you hoped for, you're met with silence or worse, indifference. What happened here? By chasing, you've created an imbalance. You've shown that their attention holds more value to you than your own self-respect. So, how do you avoid this trap? The first step is to shift your mindset. Instead of viewing relationships as something to win, see them as partnerships where mutual respect and interest are essential. If you're the only one putting in the effort, it's not a partnership, it's a pursuit. And pursuits are exhausting, both emotionally and mentally. Stoic philosophy gives us powerful tools to break free from the trap of chasing. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what's within your control. In relationships, this means controlling your own actions, emotions, and boundaries. You can't force someone to reciprocate your feelings or attention. What you can do is show up authentically and let your actions reflect your values. If someone doesn't appreciate that, it's not your job to convince them otherwise. Another thing to keep in mind is the importance of self-worth. When you chase, you're often seeking external validation. You want that person to like you, to approve of you, to make you feel valued. But true confidence comes from within. When you recognize your own worth, you stop needing others to affirm it. You can walk away from situations where you're not valued, and that, my Stoic friends, is one of the most powerful things you can do. Here's a practical tip. When you feel the urge to chase, pause and redirect that energy toward yourself. Ask yourself, why do I feel the need to pursue this? What am I hoping to gain? Often, the answer lies in something deeper, maybe fear of being alone or a desire to feel important. Address those feelings within yourself rather than seeking someone else to fill that gap. Another key aspect of breaking free from chasing is setting boundaries. Boundaries aren't just about telling others what you will or won't accept. They're about showing yourself what you deserve. For instance, if someone consistently disrespects your time or feelings, It's okay to step back and prioritize your well-being. Boundaries communicate self-respect, and that's far more attractive than any grand gesture or excessive effort. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever noticed that when you stop chasing, people often start coming to you? It's one of those paradoxes of human behavior. When you shift your focus to your own life, interests, and growth, you become magnetic. People are drawn to confidence, independence, and authenticity. When you're not constantly available, it creates a sense of intrigue. Suddenly, they're the ones wondering what you're up to, and they're the ones making the effort to connect. In conclusion, chasing is a trap that's easy to fall into, but even easier to break free from once you recognize it. It's about shifting the focus from external validation to internal confidence, from proving your worth to knowing it. So, the next time you feel the pull to chase, pause, breathe, and remind yourself of your own value. Trust me, it's not about running after someone. It's about walking forward with dignity, knowing that the right connections will come naturally. Now, here's a question for you. What's one way you've stopped chasing and reclaimed your power in a relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Stay tuned for the next part where we dive deeper into the power of boundaries. See you there. Number 6. The power of boundaries. Boundaries. How often do we hear this word but fail to grasp its true significance in relationships? They aren't just about creating space between you and someone else. They are about defining your worth, your values, and your sense of self. Without boundaries, you might find yourself overextended, drained, and ultimately unfulfilled. So, how do boundaries become a source of power, especially when you've decided to stop over-caring? Let's explore this together. When you establish boundaries, you send a clear message. I respect myself, and I expect you to respect me too. It's not about being confrontational or closing yourself off from others. It's about drawing a line where your comfort and dignity remain intact. Think about it, Stoic friends. How many times have you allowed someone to cross a line because you were afraid of losing them? Now ask yourself, what did it cost you? Boundaries work like a compass, guiding others on how they should treat you. When you're consistent about your limits, people begin to understand what you will and won't tolerate. This clarity doesn't just protect you, it also helps others respect you more. For example, if someone constantly takes advantage of your time or emotional energy, a firm but kind reminder of your limits shifts the dynamic. You reclaim control, and they either adapt to your terms or naturally phase out of your life. Either way, it's a win for you. One critical aspect of boundaries is learning to say no. How often do you agree to things out of guilt or obligation? Let's be honest, it's tough to say no, especially to people we care about. But here's the truth. Every yes you give out of fear or guilt is a no to yourself. By practicing the art of a gracious, firm no, you preserve your energy for the things and people that truly matter. And when you do show up for others, you're doing it from a place of genuine care, not resentment or exhaustion. Now, let's address something important. Enforcing boundaries isn't about creating walls. It's about building bridges of mutual respect. When you articulate your boundaries clearly, you give others the opportunity to step up and meet you where you stand. For instance, instead of saying, "You're always taking advantage of me," you might try, "I need some time for myself, and I'd appreciate it if we could find a better balance." This approach fosters understanding rather than conflict, making it easier for relationships to grow. But what happens when people push back against your boundaries? That's where your stoic resilience comes into play. Not everyone will appreciate or understand your limits, and some may even test them. When this happens, stand firm. Remember, boundaries are about you, not about controlling others. Whether they choose to respect your limits is their decision, but how you respond defines your strength. The power of boundaries lies not just in saying no, but in making space for your own growth. When you stop overcaring for others, you have more energy to invest in yourself. You can pursue hobbies, build skills, and strengthen your self-awareness. This growth doesn't just benefit you, it enhances all your relationships. People are naturally drawn to individuals who have a strong sense of self because it inspires respect and admiration. Finally, let's talk about how boundaries can transform relationships. When you set healthy limits, you challenge others to be their best selves. You encourage mutual respect, open communication, and balance. Relationships that thrive under these conditions are more authentic and fulfilling. They aren't about one person giving and the other taking. They're about two people meeting each other halfway. So, Stoic friends, what are the boundaries you need to establish in your life right now? Think about it, and take that step to reclaim your energy and your worth. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you plan to embrace the power of boundaries. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so we can keep growing and thriving together. Number 7. The true freedom of letting go. Letting go can feel like a monumental challenge, can't it? Yet, it holds the key to something extraordinary: freedom. When you finally release the emotional grip of caring too much or chasing someone's attention, you unlock a new version of yourself. You discover a strength that isn't tied to external validation, but grows from within. Let's talk about this journey, my friends, because it's transformative in ways you might not expect. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring entirely. It's about redirecting that care towards yourself. When you let go of someone who doesn't reciprocate your energy, you're not just losing them, you're gaining clarity. You're opening up the space for relationships that honor your worth and align with your values. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are sacred, and not everyone deserves access to them. Imagine yourself standing tall, your shoulders lighter, unburdened by the emotional weight you've been carrying. Doesn't that feel liberating already? One of the most profound truths about letting go is how it shifts the power dynamic. The moment you stop holding on so tightly to someone's approval or attention, you reclaim your power. Think about this for a moment. When you hold on, you give them control over your emotions, your happiness, and even your sense of self-worth. But when you let go, you take all of that back. Suddenly, the things that used to bother you don't have the same impact. You're no longer waiting for them to validate you because you've learned to validate yourself. Here's where Stoicism offers such valuable wisdom. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, and to let go of what we cannot. You can't control how someone feels about you, or whether they'll come running back once you stop chasing. What you can control is how you choose to move forward. Letting go becomes a practice of self-mastery. It's about detaching not just from people who don't see your value, but also from the idea that your happiness depends on them. But let's get practical. How do you start letting go? It begins with small shifts in perspective. Start by reminding yourself daily that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion or behavior. Engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Spend time with friends who uplift you. Dive into hobbies that reignite your passions, and focus on your personal goals. These are the things that ground you in your own life rather than someone else's. Another key step is creating emotional distance. Stop checking their social media profiles or waiting for their text. Yes, it's tough at first. But each time you resist the urge, you're building a stronger sense of independence. You're training your mind to detach from the need for external reassurance. And you know what happens when you let go? You become magnetic. It's not about playing games or trying to make someone miss you. It's about the undeniable energy that comes from knowing who you are and standing firmly in that knowledge. People are naturally drawn to confidence and self-assurance. When you stop chasing, you signal that you're content with your own company, and that's incredibly attractive. So, let me ask you, my Stoic friends, what's holding you back from letting go? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it the hope that they'll change? Or is it simply the comfort of familiarity? Whatever it is, recognize that the freedom you seek lies on the other side of release. Letting go isn't about losing. It's about gaining a deeper sense of yourself. And that, my friends, is the kind of freedom that no one can take away from you. Thank you for spending your time with us here at Stoic Relationships. Remember, life gets simpler and more fulfilling when you embrace your worth, set your boundaries, and let go of what no longer serves you. If this video resonated with you, let us know in the comments. What's one thing you've learned about letting go? Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into mastering relationships and building emotional strength. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and take care.